All right, so today we're going to learn how to use the Pathfinder tool in Illustrator. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my Explore++ folder, and I'm going to click on this PC. I'll click on the Horizon Share Drive, locate our school, locate your class, and we're looking for the Adobe Illustrator shape file, so I'm going to open that up. And we're looking for the Pathfinder panel worksheet. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that and open it up. And I'm going to go ahead and go through this really quickly with you. So once you have this open, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Window, and we're going to open up a Pathfinder tool. So Window, Pathfinder, and you want to let this guy float all by himself. And I'm going to zoom in. And what you're going to do is you're going to use this Pathfinder tool to create these shapes. You're going to see what each shape does when you use these different shape modes in the Pathfinder tool. So I'm going to go through the first one for you really quickly. So I'm going to select the blue circle, hold the shift key, and select the star. And then you're going to click on whichever one is circled. So the first one is the Unite mode. So I'm going to click on Unite and see what happens. All right, so I want you to think about, as you're doing this, what kind of shapes can you create? What other kind of shapes can you create by using these different options? All right, so what I want you to do next is hold the Alt key and copy this guy and drag him over here, and then use the outline tool to see what it looks like when it's outlined. If you're not seeing, you should be seeing an outline. If you don't see an outline, select the object again and make sure that your stroke is selected and you have a color on that stroke, and you can turn it up if you need to make it a little bit thicker. All right, so you're going to go through each one and just follow the steps. So select this guy, and then do the minus front and see what happens. Make your copy, drag it over, and use the outline. So each one of these will ask you to outline it, okay? And that's how you do that. When you get up here to this one, I want you to take a minute and I want you to think about what happens when you do this. So this one's asking you to divide. So I'm going to select both of these objects and I'm going to click on the divide button. If you notice what the little icon does, it kind of looks like it's cutting it out. All right, so it's kind of hard to see until you actually click off of it and then click back on the star, and then you can, oops, let me grab this the right way. Might take a second to grab it. So if I click on like one little piece right here, what it should have done, what it did do, but I can't seem to grab it, it divided each piece of the object. Takes a minute. I don't know why. I think I need to ungroup it. Oops. All right, now I should be able to move each piece individually. Okay, so that's what divide does. It divides your objects that are overlapping or touching. Now, when I want you to think about the Pathfinder tool, you have to have more than one object selected in order to use the Pathfinder tool. So you can't use this if only one object is selected. You have to have more than one object selected. Okay, so when you get to page 3, what I want you to do is practice on your own. So you're going to use the shapes that I have outlined for you, and then use the Pathfinder tool and figure out how to actually create those shapes. We did a couple of these in Vector. I like the cloud shapes, so we kind of did that. And the only difference with Illustrator is that you can't preview what it's going to look like before you do it. So let me do this cloud one really quickly. So I'm going to just draw a bunch of clouds, and it doesn't have to be exactly how mine is. Your shapes can be different sizes if you need them to be. Just make a couple copies. Oh, this guy. Just place them around. So we're drawing a cloud shape. So remember, we kind of did this when we did the flat vector illustration in Vector when we first started using vector shapes. And then I'm going to select them all. And yes, they do look like they're all merged, but they're not. I can tell because I'm going to put a stroke on them so you can see they're all individual shapes. So what I'm going to do is group them all, or grab them all, and then figure out which one of these Pathfinder tools will give me that cloud shape. It's going to be this one. All right, so you're going to go through each one and figure out which shapes or which shape modes you're going to need to create the object. So the circles, how can you get this centerpiece cut out using the Pathfinder tool? The heart, how can you create all of these hearts to make one heart? The moon, okay. And then when you get down here, you're going to have to figure this out on your own. So how can you make this cutout star? How can you make this shape of the key with some circles and some squares and rectangles? How can you make a piece of pie, maybe with some circles? And then the waves, maybe with a rectangle and some circles. All right, so that is your assignment.